everybody, it's Kira and welcome back to my channel. So today I have my October wrap up for you guys. So I did read a whole bunch of books this past month and I'm very excited about basically all of them. So without further ado, let's get into the books that I read. So first up, I do have to say, I can't remember if I actually finished these in September or October, but I re-listened to the audiobooks for Illuminae and Gemina by Amy Kaufman and Jay Kristoff. These audiobooks are fantastic. They have multiple narrators and they actually have like sound effects for part of them. Part of that, I think, I'm like looking for my copies of the books. I think part of the reason that they have like a really cool audiobook is because of the way that the books are written. It's through audio notes and there's special things like this where it's just like a whole bunch of faces, and it's through files and video surveillance footage and lots of like different types of almost media. The way that the books are written, and so in the audiobooks they have multiple narrators and sound effects and stuff. Like my favorite thing is in Gemina there's like a pop song that like goes on throughout the book, like pops up a lot, and so in the audiobook you like hear the pop song like playing and stuff, and it's just so fun. And yeah, I quite love these books. I love these books so much. They're super fun and really cool, and I love like the character dynamics between the main characters. So like in Illuminae it's like ex-lovers, and then in Gemina it's like they're kind of like not enemies but kind of enemies to lovers kind of a thing, and then just like piecing together all these little things about like the bigger war that's going on. It's just so cool and really well done. So after that, I reread Once Upon a Broken Heart, which I said in my last video that I was probably going to do, so you should not be surprised about that at all. I fell in love with this series so quickly. I finished them so fast, but I wanted to reread them because I read them so fast. I was like, I need to like actually take in more of the story, and also me and my friend Elizabeth were trying to figure out like what is going on with the not background, but all the Valor stuff. And I was, especially while I was reading the second book, I was getting confused as to like who is related to who and everything, which will actually be a theme you'll see in a few moments. But yeah, so I wanted to reread this and actually like kind of like take notes on that, so I did that. Also, I was taking notes on the apples that Jax eats because that's a thing in these books. So I have a little sticky note in here of the different colors of the apples that he eats. So I really hope that mystery gets revealed in book 3. But yeah, these books are so well written and just so fast and so good. After that, I actually read 2 graphic novels, and they are both Stranger Things graphic novels. Both very teeny tiny. Saw them at my library and grabbed them because I thought it would be fun. I read one of these earlier this year. I think this summer sometime. And quite enjoyed it, so I was like, oh, why not? And it counts as reading a book, and I'm like, I can read it in like 20 minutes. So Zombie Boys is about, Stranger Things Zombie Boys is about this boy who moves to their school and wants to make a movie, but he's like, we have to make a zombie movie. So Will has some feelings about that, having just come back from the dead. But it's really cute and fun, and I love their friendship. And then the other side, this takes place over like the course of season 1, and it's like Will's point of view from the upside down, from the other side, throughout season 1, which I thought was really fun. And the art in here is just super cool. I am not an artist whatsoever, and so I just think people who can draw are like so talented and amazing. So yeah, it was really fun and enjoyable to read them. Alrighty, so after that, I reread the first 2 books in the Inheritance Games, so that way I could read book 3 because they finally came in from the library. So basically, The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes is about this girl named Avery Grams. She is 17 and she's 16. I can't remember, but she's 16 or 17. Anyway, she's a teenager in high school, just living her life. She lives with her stepsister, who is her sister, because her mom has died like a year ago. And then there's news that this big, like, huge billionaire guy just died, and he left the vast majority of his inheritance to this random girl. So she ends up going to Texas to live in the Hawthorne house, the Hawthorne mansion, because one of the rules in the will is she has to live in this house for a year before she can like fully inherit all of this wealth. And there are 4 grandsons of this billionaire guy who died, and she comes kind of into conflict with them and the rest of the family too. And so much stuff happens, guys. So many things happen. Lots of twists and turns. Craziness ensues. So, books 1 and 2 I've read before. I was really glad I reread book 2 because the big thing in book 2 is there's a character at the end of book 1 that gets revealed is actually alive. And is through book 2, they're kind of figuring out like who Avery's father is, because is it the guy that she's always thought it is, or is it this other person? And honestly, I did not remember what the final conclusion they came to was. So I was very glad I reread this. But honestly, too, I had to keep track because there's a lot of characters who are all like related to each other. So I ended up keeping notes on who was related to who and who didn't like whom. And like, there's, because of a lot of these like mysteries that are getting revealed, especially in book 2, I also kept notes on who, specifically in the Hawthorne family, like how that background all played out. And then I finally got to read The Final Gambit, which actually takes place like close to a year after book 2 ends, which was very interesting, seeing them like so far in advance, because like books 1 and 2 take place right after one another, and it's like all within like a 2-month time span. Like, it's all like super, super fast. Like, I think book 1 has like 6 weeks in it, and then book 2 is a couple more weeks, or something along those lines. So then having book 3 be like so far in advance, like, was really interesting. I enjoyed it a lot. I thought it was a good conclusion to the series. I liked the ending. It made me sad. There was one thing about it that made me sad, but I overall really liked the ending. And she also is writing a book about the 4 grandsons, so I'm very excited about the Hawthorne Boys book that will be coming out at some point in time. So, yeah, quite enjoyed it. And I'm waiting for this one to come out in paperback so I can match these 2 that I own. But I will eventually buy it. And then the last book that I read in the month of October is Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. And this book, I'm like 99% sure I first heard of this from either John or Hank Green. I follow them quite closely and enjoy a lot of the stuff that they do. But it was interesting because this is an adult book, which I don't read a whole ton of, but I think that lent itself to a thing that I will talk about in a second. But this follows 2 main characters, Sam and Sadie, and they are childhood best friends for a little bit, and they love video games. And so they're childhood best friends, and then they have a falling out, and they don't see each other again until they're in college, and they happen to run into each other at a train station, and Sadie invites Sam to play this video game that she developed, and they end up collaborating and making their own video games and owning a company, like creating a company and owning this company together and making a whole bunch of games, and some of them go viral, some of them do not do well, and it really just follows like their relationship together and their relationship to games and the gaming world, and it was so cool. Now, I don't know like hardly anything about video games. My brothers are much more gamers than I am. I enjoy Lego Star Wars on the Wii. That's about the extent of my gaming expertise. So it was really interesting like reading, but like I know a little bit from like being around people who love gaming, so it was interesting like seeing these like bits and pieces where I'm like, oh, I know like that bit of history, and this is totally fiction, but it was like obviously pulling from like real world stuff going on. But the thing that I found the most like exciting and interesting about this book is that because it was an adult book, like young adult books have to take place within like such a short amount of time because your target audience is like a certain age range, and so you want your characters to stay in that age range, so everything has to happen super fast. But for adult books, you can like take the time to like have time pass. So it was really cool seeing them like as childhood friends, and then like in their 20s and then in their 30s, and how like their relationship changed as like they got older and as things happened to them. And I just thought that was really cool, like getting to see them age, which I don't tend to see in books just because I read a lot of young adult books where that like does not happen because of the constraints of said book, you know? So I thought that was really cool. I also really appreciated the storytelling aspect of this. There's a lot of times where it would like, something would happen or someone would say something, and then it would like, the next chapter would go back and explain like, okay, this is why this means this thing. Like, there's a thing about Sam's mom that doesn't get revealed till like way later in the book, or probably like halfway through the book, about this tragic event that happened to Sam and his mom. And it's interesting because the only reason that it happened, that it gets revealed, is because there's something else in like the present day storyline that is like connected to that. And so then the narrator of the book is like, okay, now let's go back and explain this. Or there's a couple times where it was like, they would say something, like in their younger years, they would say something, and then the like narrator of the book would be like, but that was like before they stopped talking, or whatever, something like that. And you'd be like, I wonder like what happened there to like make that a thing. And so I thought the storytelling was just super cool. So I really enjoyed this book a lot. So yeah, those are all the books that I read in the month of October. Comment down below, let me know if you've read any of these. I'd love to chat in the comments below. And I'd love to hear all your thoughts on them. Did you read The Inheritance Games? What did you think of The Final Gambit? I thought it was really good, but I don't know. So yeah, that's it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you want to follow me on social media, all my links will be in the description as always. My Bookstagram has been, I've been keeping up with that a lot more than I have with YouTube. So if you want to follow me more so as I like read books throughout the month and keep up to date as I'm reading them, check that out too. So yeah, thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!